Hi guys, this is just a silly video about mapping out the conceptual territory of language supremacists, and basically I'm just defining this as anybody who believes that some language, whether it's their own, whether it's somebody else's, is the best language. And obviously best is subjective here, but in this case I'm just kind of going off of whatever their definition of best is. So if you believe that a language is the best because of some feature or something, then you're going to end up somewhere on this map because your definition of best is also going to be kind of represented in this conceptual territory. This is just supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be taken too seriously, but I thought it might be nice to have a little bit more of like a nuanced, I guess, visual for these like stereotypical language nationalists or whatever. So I organized the map into two axes. So one is from low effort to high effort, and this is more like effort into like their rationalization or their thought process. So people on the low effort side are just like, they're not really thinking about it that much. They maybe don't even really care that much. And then the high effort is like, it's really important to them. And then on the other axis, it's self-serving. So like how much your belief in your language's supremacy is just like trying to make yourself feel good. And then all the way to the other one, which is like idealist, which is like, it's almost like altruistic, like you believe that some language is like good for everybody, good for the world. So I'll start off in the bottom right here, which is just like the simplest one, and it's me language good. So it's just like kind of like a default, like I was born in this place, so therefore this place is good. I was born speaking this language, therefore this language is good. It's not really something you think about. It's just for people like this, you're not even going to encounter them that much or really see them in your online comments or anything that much, because they just don't really care that much. It's just kind of something they take for granted, is that their language is the best language. It's just kind of something they just think because it's their default explanation for languages. Everybody probably knows somebody like outside of linguistics that maybe thinks like this, but who's not really going to argue with you about it. Like if you go up to them and you say like, hey, explain why your language is the best, and they're just gonna be like, nah, I don't really, it's just the best. But gradually, as people like do care more about things, you can kind of see this dashed line going up all the way up to the language fascists, and I didn't really know what to call these people, but this is just like anybody who believes that their like ethnic group or something is the best, and therefore that's why their language is the best, because we have the best culture, we have the best blah blah blah, we have the best whatever. Obviously we're gonna also have the best language because it's kind of like a product of our superior culture or civilization. So a lot of people again might think this about the place that they're from, but in this case it's not just like a default like they're not going to argue with you about it thing. It's like they actually will, like they've thought about this. They have like this whole narrative in their head. And this is in the top right here is more focused on people who believe that the language that they speak is the best language. So it's entirely self-serving. It's my language is the best language because my culture is the best culture. And so you can see it actually overlaps with what I'm calling old heads. So this is just people who are into ancient languages, which, not inherently bad, but in this case, they believe that one ancient language or maybe a group of ancient languages is the best language. So, and then where this kind of overlaps with language fascists is obvious, historically with people like who have like these Ariosophy ideologies, where like the Proto-Indo-European speakers were like the best humans ever, and the pure race or something, and therefore of course they had the best language, and everything now is kind of like a deprecated version of that. So they believe that their language is probably good because it's descended from that, but it's not necessarily as self-serving as just believing your own language is the best, because it's like believing that some like ancient version of your language is the best. And then just going into old heads in general, that's just people who believe that some ancient language, whether it's the ancestor of their language or just some random language, is the best language. And this is kind of common because a lot of people don't like linguistic change. They believe that languages in the past were better or something. So an old head might be like obsessed with Latin or Sanskrit. There's tons of different versions of this, and it's basically just like back in the day people were wiser. There's often like a religious motivation as well, and they spoke this language, so therefore this language is better. Again, I'm not criticizing anybody who studies old languages, because the whole territory of this chart is only including people who believe that one language is better than all the others. If you're interested in ancient languages and you think they're really awesome, but you don't necessarily have this statement in your head about one being the best language ever, then you don't have to worry about this. I'm not talking about you. Under the old heads, I have the lucky ducks, and this is just basically somebody who's it's not really too much of an explanation, but it's a lot more of an explanation than me language good, and it's actually not that self-serving necessarily. It's I was just lucky to be born speaking the best language. It's like it's not something inherent about me or like even necessarily my culture. It's just like this language is just the best language, and just what do you know? Like I won the lottery. I was born in a country that speaks the best language. It's kind of similar to the like classic cocky American, like I'm born in a country where it's like we have a really booming economy or something. So I'm just lucky. I'm just like I'm in the best place. And I have this kind of overlapping with the old heads because it's kind of like a survival of the fittest thing sometimes. So it's like like my language has developed throughout time to become better and better, and that's why I speak it. It's just a coincidence of like how effective this language is. So like English is the global lingua franca or something because it's such a good language, and so that's why I speak it. It's just like a coincidence like that. The point being, it's not something like inherent to me. It's just like that's the language. I'll get back to this central area, but I'm going to jump to the bottom left here. So this is another kind of extreme. This is low effort but not self-serving. So this would be like somebody who's learning a different language. So, or actually at the very bottom, it's just him language good. That's just basically saying like, I don't know too much about linguistics. I don't really care that much about it, but I just think somebody else's language is good. Like somebody told me one time that Chinese is the best language or something. So that's the best language. I don't know too many people like this, but there's definitely people who like see other languages as like super exotic and just kind of like assume that they're better or something. And technically you could have somebody doing this with an old language as well. So the map's not perfect. It doesn't really overlap there, but it's just like somebody else, that language is good. I'm not gonna learn it. I'm too dumb. Not saying that they actually are too dumb. I'm just saying like that might be how they think of it. But then you can kind of think of how this might turn into somebody having actually more of an interest in the language and so being a new language learner. So like you just start studying a language and you'd think that language is the best. So it's like maybe that's the reason you're studying the language. Maybe you started studying the language, and then you just wanted to justify it by saying it's the best language. But it might be like, I'm learning Japanese because I'm into anime or something, and gosh, it's such a cool language. It's the best language. And you don't really have too much of an explanation beyond that. It's just so different, and you like some of those features. And so as you get more experienced in that language, you might have more and more of a justification. And so this language learning blob kind of bleeds into what I'm calling feature fanatics, which is just like somebody who thinks that it's some actual aspect of the language, is like grammar or morphology or something, is the reason it's the best. So I have this kind of bleeding into what I'm calling the conlangs. So this is just constructed languages, which are people create the languages to make them better. So this is obviously not very self-serving because you're creating something. Or it's not self-serving to your own language. Maybe it's self-serving in like some other way, but you're creating a language because you think my language is not even good enough, so I have to make a new one. So that's what Ox languages are for. And so one of the features that the feature fanatics might be obsessed with is like simplicity or something like that. So I added simplicity simps in there. I didn't really know. It's just kind of like alliteration. But that's just like somebody who's really into a simple grammar. So like especially people who like Oxlangs are into that simplicity. So like no verb tenses or anything. So I kind of have that as part of something that a language learner might be into. So if you're studying Chinese and they don't have verb tenses, you might be like, oh, that's cool. So like no verb tenses. So you do be into that feature, and then but you also might be into that feature for an Oxlang, and then or like Tokipona or something like that. So again, I love Tokipona. I love lots of conlangs. I don't necessarily believe that they're like the best language though. So if you're into these languages, this is like no shame or hate on anybody. This is just like if you happen to believe that it's the best language, then this video involves you. And I have Oxlangs intersecting with the Lucky Ducks from before because some people kind of view English or just other lingua francas as being inherently Oxlangs almost, like they're constructed in a way. So some people believe that English is a Creole. That's like a theory. And I'm not saying necessarily if you believe that, then you believe that English is the best language, but that might be one of your justifications if you do believe that English is the best language or something, is that it's a Creole. It's a constructed language that's kind of evolved naturally over time to become more and more useful. So it's kind of like that survival of the fittest thing before. Another feature people might like is logic or just like consistent grammar. So that's the loglang lovers part up here. So this might be like Lojban or something like that, or maybe like Ithkuil if you're studying that. But that's even farther up really. So this is the loglang and Ithkuil thing is all in this Englangs or Englang. I don't know how people pronounce that, but languages that are engineered to be better than normal languages, not just to be easy to learn, but to be like to have some sort of like mechanical improvement almost. And so then the scale of that is like how invested you are. So maybe you're just interested in it, you think it's the best, loglang good kind of thing, or you go up and you're learning it and you're actually studying it. And then obviously at the very top, highest effort, you're putting a lot of time into this, and also you're like doing it in this kind of altruistic way. You're creating a Englang. So this might be something like John Quixote, the creator of Ithkuil, if he believed that Ithkuil is the best language. Anyway, that about covers this map. I'm sure there's ways to improve it, so let me know if you have any ideas. I already pointed out some issues with it, with the sections that should be overlapping but aren't. But in general, just I think it might be a useful way to talk about it. If you have improvements for any of these terms as well, I know some of them aren't maybe the best. Also, I didn't really explain before, auxlangs are like auxiliary languages, so it's like a language designed for international communication or something, so like Esperanto is an auxlang. Hence why they value simplicity or learnability. Anyway, thanks for watching, and hope you have a nice rest of your day.